Greetings and happy Monday, everyone. I want to go over this week's announcements and reminders. I'm joined by my friend Medicine Ball, who has been um, much needed this week and weekend. So this is we're in week 14. Okay, so we are very much nearing the end. And so that means we have a few things that I want to review in preparation for the end of the semester, but then also go over some things um, that I have recently graded, which I'm happy to say. So I first want to go over that there is no virtual discussion this week. Okay, as per the October PowerPoint that I used for our October meeting, the week 11 and the week 14 virtual discussions were removed. Okay, so and that was to give you all enough time your to work through your clinical interview part two, your group clinical interviews part two, as well as to work through your teaching philosophy and your journal and your reflective journals. Okay, so so there isn't one this week. There isn't one next week. Week 12 was your last one. Okay, or rather, virtual discussion 12 was your last one. So okay. Um, so the readings for this week is Banks, which I'm making a copy of. I'm going to upload that soon. Regal, Crumb, Farkas, and Mueller, and Fryer. And so those have been placed in the course readings folder in the general content folder. Okay, so you can access that there. Um, and did it say this? Does say week 9? It should say week 14. It says week 9. Should say course resources in the week 14 folder, and that's this video, of course. So um, if you're watching it, you probably found it there. If not, you found it via email. So and then recently graded. So what I have graded thus far, okay, is I have gone in and I have updated some of the grades for some of the assignments, like the mid-semester survey. I went in and did the our larger meetings. I updated the October meeting uh, points for that, and then I graded your clinical interviews part one. And I know that many of you all are working on or have already or have conducted your clinical interview part two. And I've also graded your teaching philosophy outline. Okay. And so I do want to say, I want to offer an apology, okay, for being so delayed in giving you all feedback for clinical interview part one. It's been a crazy semester rolling out the program and being an administrator of the program, but also teaching a course. That is no excuse. Okay, that is no excuse, but I do want to just let y'all know. I know that, of course, you've been wanting feedback. I get it. I get it. Okay. So hopefully the feedback that I provided you for the clinical interview part one will at least inform your write-up for the clinical interview part two. So the main things that I want you all to be mindful of, okay, in terms of the clinical interview part two, okay, is I want you to be mindful of the fact that yes, although this is an interview, okay, you are an educator. And so you definitely have your educator hat on as you're conducting the interview. So it's okay to ask guiding questions, okay? Definitely avoid commenting a lot. You want to refrain from commenting, okay? You want to refrain from providing the answer, okay? This is an inquiry-based approach to learning more about what your students know, okay? And being that you're learning about inquiry-based approaches in the program, this is another way for you to learn more about students in a one-on-one interaction, okay? So that being said, you can ask guided questions. You can ask probing questions. Okay, it's important to offer encouragement. Okay, to your participant or to your students, and the reason why is because it helps with anxiety. Okay, and so students may have anxiety around math and science, as we know that students do, especially when they enter into middle school. Okay, And students will have anxiety just around learning in general. And if there's something that they're struggling with, that automatically students are going to have anxiety around a subject area that they're struggling with. And so one way to alleviate some of that anxiety, at least in terms of your role with that student, is to offer encouragement, and a very nurturing approach to the interview. Okay. Um, so in addition to that, you want to make sure that that you are um, adapting throughout the interview. So yes, you definitely want to prepare all of the questions that you think you may want to ask, okay, ahead of time. And the reason being is because in thinking through the questions, that helps you to provide it helps to provide you with a roadmap through the interview. Okay, and you may answer only 30% of the questions that you have listed, but at least you were prepared. Okay, and you have those questions written down and thought through. And once you have those questions written down, go back through them again, review them again. And so what you'll find is as you review them, you will get rid of some, you'll add more. So that way you're refining what you want to ask. Okay. Um, and then lastly, I want to make sure that you all are at least going back through and you're writing down your notes and your observations. So it may be difficult to do, as you're interviewing. So I wouldn't do it as you're interviewing, but I would definitely go back and view the video. Okay, we go back and view the video, and then I would definitely write down your notes, your observations about what transpired during the interview, and include that in your write up. Okay. And why is that important? That's important because you want to be able to reflect on your experience. Okay, you want to be able to reflect on your experience. That's really important to be reflective. And so I want you all to be able to go back, watch the video, write down what you observed, write down your thoughts and your perceptions, and include that in the interview itself. Okay. Much of what I provided you all in feedback for the clinical interview part 1, you already pointed out in your own write up. So you're already thinking through. You are already being reflective about the interview process in and of itself. So much of what you had mentioned yourselves about areas that you wanted to, about areas about where you had challenges, as well as areas where you thought that you had done well, you all had identified that for the most part. So you're definitely connecting with the assignment in that sense. Okay. All right. Teaching philosophy is one of the last assignments that's due in the course, and so I just want to go over a few things for that too in terms of the grading. Make sure that you all are thinking about the theorists and the theories that you learn in the course. Okay, so democratizing education, what it means to be culturally responsive, Vygotsky, Piaget. So those theorists and what and the theories that they put forth. Okay, make sure that you're mentioning those things in your write up. Make sure that you're talking about inquiry based teaching, that you are talking about bare necessities, that you're talking about differentiation of instruction. So be very specific about some of the things that you want to do in the classroom. Okay. And so think about it from the perspective of, if you're talking to a principal or talking to a department chair, you want them to get some kind of insight about what it would be like to have a day as a student, in your class. What would that feel like? What would that look like? What would that seem like? So you want to make sure that that's kind of what you use as some kind of inspiration for your teaching philosophy. Okay, and I definitely think that the teaching philosophy outline that you all had to complete, I think that serves as a very good outline for your teaching philosophy. Okay, so hint that I'll be looking for those pieces in your final teaching philosophy, in addition to what I mentioned in the course syllabus. And what's mentioned in Blackboard. Okay. Okay. And lastly, your reflective journal. Okay. So please, please, please do not wait. Do not wait until, do not wait until Tuesday, December the 3rd, to write your reflective journal. Okay. If you haven't gotten started, which I know it's very possible because we've been very busy this semester, especially with you all between, teaching and your observations and then the coursework, I get it. Okay. But start writing your reflections now. Okay. Start working on them now. So that way you're not having to write 10 pages of reflections at the end. And plus it's not as effective, to be honest with you, to write it at the very end. It's not as effective. Because the goal is to see the change that's taken place over time while you've been in the program in this course. Okay, so I am still looking at week 12 virtual discussions. I'm looking at the virtual discussions uh, that's left as a whole. Okay. And what I'm probably going to do is write up a summary of responses for the remaining virtual discussions and post that. And the reason why I'm going to do it, even though we're so far beyond the virtual discussion times that you all have completed those virtual discussions, is because I want to provide feedback that you all can take with you into next semester, into the end of this semester. Okay. Um, so I really appreciate everyone's patience throughout this process. Um, I will tell you, I feel like a brand new person, being that I was able to get those 2 assignments done, graded that is, because I really want to make sure that I'm supporting you all the best that I can. Okay. Okay. If you have any questions at all, let me know. Okay. Let me know if you have questions about what I provided in terms of feedback. If you have questions about any upcoming assignments, I cannot stress enough, do not hesitate to contact me about any of the upcoming course assignments. If you have any questions, because what's left are big point assignments. So what I mean is that these are big chunks of your grade that's left for these remaining assignments. So make sure that if you have any questions at all, that you can find me, that you email me, that you call me. Many of you have my cell number, that you text me and let me know that you have questions about what's left. Okay. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll be with you all day with the site visit that's happening tomorrow. So, okay, y'all have a great afternoon, a great evening. Bye.